The trust that existed between him and Honorable Raila Odinga broke down irretrievably. Raila and ODM decided on that day to chart a new course without our so-called coalition partners. Musalia does not know what happened from there on. He was in the dark and he remains in the dark. He knows nothing about that chapter of Kenya's history and would be best advised not to parade his ignorance, especially in faraway lands.
The leaders of NASA were given an opportunity by the government to go and launch Huduma number. He's among the people who are even facilitated to go and launch the Huduma number. That was through the spirit of the handshake. We even know, and with the time we are going to provide information, that he is also a beneficiary of the handshake.
So that's Godfrey Osotsi. He is a member of the ANC party that is led by Musalia Mudavadi. Apparently he's supposed to be under Mudavadi. And then we have Edwin Sifuna, the Secretary General of ODM. He said other things, including that we have invited our colleagues to formally dissolve the coalition. I have invited all the Secretary Generals to sign. We are ready even now to dissolve the coalition. I don't know where to begin. I don't know whether to begin with you or yourself.
That was the next.
So Dr. Chris,
yeah.
a Secretary General of ODM says that he has invited Secretary General of Ford Kenya, Wiper and ANC to come on board and dissolve the coalition. And I remember you were very vocal in the years of 2016-17 trying to form NASA, and you were very delighted, and you knew that after the 2017 run, the next candidate was going not to be Raila. What are we dealing with here?
I think Sifuna is speaking from an ignorant point of view. I'm saying so because I was part and parcel of that formation of the NASA, and I'm very conversant with that document that was signed and was deposited by the registered political parties. In NASA, we have structures. We have the summit, the topmost, which is made up of Raila himself, Wetangula, Kalonzo, and Mudavadi. Then, as it cascades down, we have the management board. The management board coming from ODM is Orengo. It's not even Sifuna.
Wait a minute. So is that, you call it a summit, is it on paper or is it in action? What is the last time they met?
The management board, I wish you give me some 2 minutes I clear so that you can come in. Yeah.
Just carry on.
Now, this document was deposited by the register of political parties. And when we come from the summit, we come to the management board. The management board is the one to be in charge of the operations of the coalition. And from the ODM side, it's represented by Orengo, not even Sifuna. On Ford Kenya side, we have Eseli. On ANC side, we have Honorable Bunyasi, and from the Wiper side, we have Senator Mudama. So in case of a dispute, these are the people to convene. And if you want to dissolve NASA, there must be at least 2 parties to write to the register of political parties, where one party can say, I'm dissatisfied, we want to dissolve this. So all this is structured in the document.
But let me ask you, even as you restrain yourself or restrict yourself to the structure, do you feel that there's a coalition called NASA? I mean, have those organs you've enlisted
the coalition is still there. It still
when is
exists.
The last time they met?
Of course, we meet on parliamentary level. Okay? So, like recently, when we had a matter on the floor of the House, we also consult each other as NASA. Myself, I'm holding a leadership position, courtesy of the NASA coalition. When you go to the Senate, we have the ANC Senator for Kakamega. He holds a position courtesy of NASA. We have Honorable Haniri. He's in the PSC courtesy of NASA. So NASA is a legal document that is there, it exists.
It's a legal document.
In case you want to dissolve it,
operation?
there are structures. No, even operations. Well, as I mentioned in the National Assembly, we do consult when it comes to leadership. When a matter comes to the floor of the House, he mentioned about the NLC. Whatever happened, and I wanted to dispute what he said. It was not an issue of Raila or an issue of Ruto. We discussed as Parliament, and the issue of KRA was not the appropriate thing when it comes to tax compliance. So we voted for Honorable Tia Kalgalo as a House, as parliamentarians. It was not at all based on Ruto or based on Raila. So the issue when it comes to Parliament, NASA is there. But other activities, maybe politicking, going outside, it's totally different. Now, when you talk about the handshake, the issue of the handshake, there is a motion that came to Parliament to operationalize that. We had a motion in the National Assembly, and we had a motion also in the Senate. And it was supported by the entire coalition. So NASA exists.
All right, so NASA exists. Honorable Loch, Dr. Chris Omalo says NASA exists in Parliament only. So outside of parliament, does NASA exist? Is NASA still an opposition party? Kamket was saying
a coalition, not a party.
Okay, a coalition for that matter. Kamket earlier on was mentioning about how since Raila Odinga is in the government, there's no, and Dr. William Ruto is now the head of opposition. So then my question is ODM still opposition? Is NASA still relevant?
First of all, I think I want to put it in two perspectives. Politically, I think NASA is dead. At least politically.
Okay.
It served its purpose. I think it was an election vehicle. We went into an election and this served its purpose then. But then I think post the handshake, the challenges and the issues, I think what you're seeing playing out are post-handshake fallout issues. Those who feel that the handshake, first of all, the swearing in, whether or not they heard the swearing in and whether or not they should have been consulted to be at the...
What does HEPAD mean?
HEPAD, I'm a slanger, I come from Madare.
They must represent your people the way they talk.
The HEPAD, the handshake. So that's politically. Legally speaking, though, Chris Wamalwa is right. That document is registered under the Registrar of Political Parties. It was a pre-election coalition deposited with the Registrar of Political Parties, and it informs how we associate ourselves in the National Assembly and in the Senate. The leadership in both houses is reflective of that arrangement. And even the claim you hear about whether or not we should share political parties fund, notwithstanding whether that was actually written, is in respect of that. So those legal things, obligations, still bind us. But then I want to put it this way. I would myself be, of course, the Secretary General must always speak very authoritatively. Some people would say abrasively. I wouldn't be as abrasive myself for two reasons. Even though I agree in principle with most of what he says. One, because these guys were our bosses. And when your bosses are fighting, it's like your dad and your mom. You don't get involved in between because you don't know when next they will get back together. Secondly, in the next dispensation, I strongly believe that Mudavadi's destiny, Kalonzo's destiny, and Raila's destiny are still tied up together.
Who is Wetangula in that mix?
And Wetangula. I still believe that they will gravitate together at some point. And so I would not myself be too abrasive in trying to get into the politics in between themselves. These people still speak. By the way, I think they still speak, and even as we politic and we go out in the podium there and take a position or the other, these people are still the best of friends. So Raila and Mudavadi still go to the same club at Karen and stuff like that, and they're still the best of friends.
Let's listen to a rally that you attended yesterday and what the members of parliament there were saying in as far as the race towards 2022 is concerned. Let's listen to them.
Kama kuna mtu wa Jubilee hapa, roho ya Uhuru Kenyatta hako hapo. Roho ya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta haiko na huyo mtu anaitwa ati ni wa Jubilee. Roho ya Uhuru Kenyatta iko na Imran Okoth ambayo yuko hapa.
They are trying to bring foreigners to Kibra, imposing leaders from outside in Kibra. We want to tell them, sisi watu wa handshake, team handshake tumejipanga. Sisi watu wa handshake tuna mpango na tunajua tunaenda wapi. Raundi hii sisi kama chama na sisi tutarusha neti upande wa right. Ndio kwa maana tuweze kuvua ile samaki ambayo tunatafuta haswa mwaka wa 2022.
There's a voice you don't have, and that is of Anthony Oloch, who is the member of parliament from Mathare. He said that mkimwona kamanda hapa, hivi ndivyo kutakuwa 2022. You just said that you would not... Because you're here, I'm quoting it.
Okay, very well.
You are saying that you would not get involved in a quarrel between your parents, but you're already getting into it and giving signals of what should happen in 2022, yet you still believe that the destiny of the people that are the principals of NASA belongs together in the future.
Yes, and I said this with the reason that I believe that even as we embrace the handshake, and Uhuru now is part of that handshake, I believe that the Wiper leader is in that handshake. I believe Mudavadi, with all the gesturing and the posturing in public, will still gravitate towards the handshake. The point that I was trying to make in Kibra, and I said it in Kikuyu out of the one sermon, a line in the sermon from the preacher, and if I get this wrong, you'll correct me. Orea monaga neoguo kore. That the way you are seeing it, that's the way it is. So when you see Commander here, and the way Raila and Uhuru is, and the way Nani, that's the way it is. That the handshake candidate in Kibera was Bernard Okoth, Imran. So I was trying to say that, you know, this is something that should not have been broken, or rather that the fielding of a Jubilee candidate was intended to break the handshake. The handshake is still strong. The way you're seeing Uhuru and Raila, the way you're seeing Maina, Commander and us, hapa hivi,
you have to interpret what that means for the sake of our viewers.
All right, Senator, let me rope you back in. You've been a bit too quiet on this issue. So, Honorable Godfrey was saying that people who have benefited from the handshake, who are not necessarily in the handshake, such as Honorable Mudavadi, something that also Honorable Luochi had also said right now, that nevertheless there will still gravitate towards that handshake. How has Mudavadi, Ford and ANC and the rest benefited from this handshake when they were locked outside from it? They weren't part of that handshake at the Harambee stairs?
I think, Zizi, when Wetangula was in the Senate saying that the divorce will be noisy, messy, and with casualties, this is what we are witnessing.
This is the divorce.
At the grander scale. Walisema ndoa ikivunjika, ndoa ya mapenzi, watu wanalia sana. Look at it this way.
Ndoa ya machozi.
Who is this? Ya mapenzi sio machozi. Who is this attacking Mudavadi? Two lawyers, Sifuna and Osotsi. You send your own to attack your own. One day, I was a called, member of parliament. There was a time I issued a statement on behalf of the coalition in Naivasha. And then I was told, wewe umetumwa wewe Mkikuyu kututukana. You know, it's a very good strategy. When somebody is issuing a statement, don't let a Luo, Babu Owino, you issue it. And I don't like the brazenness of my friend Sifuna. He needs to go slow. In politics, you don't do that.
So he's never been elected?
Because, no, it's not a question. He's been elected. He's been elected and he did not get enough votes. No, he's been elected.
Well, is not here. Let's not make him a debate.
Let's not. And of course, Sifuna is a Secretary General of ODM, so he's not speaking from his Kandui or whatever. What I'm trying to say is this. By the end of the day, in Nairobi, yes. By the end of the day, he's speaking on behalf of ODM as a party. He is representing an opinion of a people. Now, this Wamolo was trying to be SG of Ford Kenya. I don't know whether he has succeeded. But what I want to say is this. Yes, I want to say this. By the end of the day, things have changed.
How does that connect with what you're talking about?
Because, you know, he wants to be a Secretary General just like Sifuna, and he's bashing Sifuna here on the basis that he was not elected. Yet we know very well in this country, people will steal votes and then they come to brag about being elected. Let me say this. By the end of the day, coalitions don't last more than 6 months after people got in parliament. CORD suffered the same way. This idea of handshake is predicated upon a unity of all people against Ruto. Now, if you go the way Osotsi and Sifuna are going, are you helping the case? And everybody is trying to play their own, small games, so that there's no script. Usidanganywe na mtu. There's no script. We were with Uhuru Kenyatta in New York. He told us there are watu wa kieleweke, watu wa tangatanga, watu wa handshake. He said he's not in any of those.
But Senator, you still haven't answered my question on how Mudavadi and Wetangula have benefited from a handshake they weren't part of. They were in the dark. They were kept in the dark.
I'm answering. So everybody is trying to advance their own schism because you cannot rely on what was said there by those people. Honestly, they are against Mudavadi. So I cannot answer them because they are the only ones who can say what they know they benefit. Kama kulipatiana pesa mimi sijui. What I'm trying to say in short, everybody is trying to advance their own game plan to suit their own ends. Because I've also seen Mudavadi being taken to Central as if they are being paired with people like Peter Kenneth. Mimi nasomea kwa mbali sana. And I'm very good at reading. So, nasoma tunasema Kikuyu rather mera 18. You can see from far.
Oh, there's a lot of Kikuyu.
Yeah. So, there is no script in this. There's a lot of confusion. Handshake brought confusion because of the polemic nature of our politics. It was very easy to predicate your politics around Raila Odinga as the oppositionist and Ruto as the government. Now, when that has failed, everybody is trying to create something. When you see Maina Kamanda, how much support does Maina Kamanda have in Jubilee, to be very honest? So that then when you see him with Anthony Oloch, how much support does he have actually in Jubilee? How much votes does he actually command? Let me tell you. So when you talk about Kieleweke, let me finish. I also give you a chance. Please be moderate and be modest. So the issue we are talking about, Maina Kamanda has been procured to advance the agenda of Raila Odinga within Jubilee. You
But
get the
he
point?
says that whatever he says is the voice of Uhuru Kenyatta.
No, he's not.
But
He's
Uhuru
not.
hasn't come
Uhuru
out to deny
Kenyatta,
it.
let me tell you, Uhuru Kenyatta does not want to delve into this.
Okay.
Because Uhuru Kenyatta's concern, and I speak here from what he's told us,
So now you also speak
Uhuru
from-
Kenyatta has said he is interested about development. Uhuru Kenyatta is more about his legacy. Uhuru Kenyatta has said he is not asking for votes in 2022.
And therefore, what you're talking about, the collusion in coalitions. And Honorable Kamketa,
Uhuru
as you
Kenyatta
watch-
accepted Mariga. He was there with him at State
yes,
House.
Senator, but every other member of parliament that you've hosted here from Jubilee Party, most of them have said that they do not support the candidature of Mariga. And
It's
that's
not
what we saw
every
at
other
display.
person. No,
I said most of them.
No, not every
No,
other.
listen to what I
Talk
said.
about Maina Kamanda. Talk about Rachel Shebesh.
Senator.
There are so many people who are supporting Mariga.
Okay, let me rope in.
Sakaja actually mispromised.
Excuse
Sakaja
me,
said that there was not going to be a candidate, and
Senator,
there's a
we need to
candidate
make
now.
some progress. Honorable Kamket, so
Mauka Maori is kieleweke.
Senator.
But
Senator,
No, it's Meru.
please allow Honorable Kamket a bit moderate. So let him make a comment on this. And as you watch from the side of Kanu, looking at the Jubilee Party, okay, initially a coalition of parties, now a party. It's now disgruntled, and then you look at the coalition that is NASA. They are colliding in between, but also colluding with each other. So what do you read of this, even as Kanu re-strategizes for 2022? Where do you see yourselves in this mix?
First of all, we are, after this show, I'm going to see the retired president to give us direction, because, you know, he's a resident of Kibra. So,
Cabernet Gardens.
And from what
He votes in Kibra?
He's a resident.
Do you actually mean what you're saying?
Yes.
That you got to get direction from President Moi?
Yes. He's a resident. He's a key stakeholder of Kibra. And
Dynasty.
From what I can deduce, I don't want to say before him, but I can deduce that he's going to direct us with the handshake candidate. But
There's no handshake candidate.
the handshake candidate is, of course, Imran. So let me say this. When I look at my colleague Wamalwa here saying that NASA is still alive, I mean, I don't think he lives in this country.
He does. I can confirm to you.
When was the barrier?
And even Jubilee, talking about Jubilee is still alive. Which Jubilee are we talking about? Jubilee is dead.
Oh.
Fundamentally.
I asked you a question.
Is Kanu alive?
I asked you a question. As you strategize as Kanu for 2022, with all this confusion within Jubilee, within NASA, and in between NASA and Jubilee, where do you see yourselves?
No, there are so many formations coming. And this is just the beginning. We're just at the beginning. The beauty of it is that we have two and a half years to play around, or to strategize and re-strategize. What I know for sure is that in the fullness of time, when the bell is rung for 2022, things will be looking very, very different from how they look now. And these are just the beginnings. These are just the first kicks. And
Yes, Honorable Kamkete, I was waiting for you to finish on that point. Earlier on, you had mentioned that that the head of opposition here in Kenya is Dr. William Ruto. Do you genuinely believe that, or was just that a comment?
For all intents and purposes, and in all practical purposes, the deputy president is the leader of opposition in the government that serves. Yes.
And Senator...
And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see.
Senator Mwaura asked you a question that was also very important. You said ODM is dead. Jubilee is also dead, politically speaking.
I didn't say ODM.
No,
I said
not
NASA.
ODM, but NASA.
NASA,
And you've also said Jubilee is dead.
Yes.
Is Kanu dead?
Yes.
Let me put it this way. You know, Kanu lost elections many years back, right? And
Yet here we are discussing.
Kanu lost elections so many years ago, but Kanu is still around. So in terms of all the other coalitions, these are special purpose vehicles that were formed, just like CORD. Do you still remember what it was? Do you still remember PNU?
Coalition for
all those coalitions. So there is another one coming after in the next few years.
So therefore,
they will be. We are all Kenyans.
Okay.
And we know, especially now, when we are in this period of transition. Transition from
the next
one
presidency.
Yes.
All right. So
there are a lot of undercurrents happening.
Undercurrents.
And it is very clear to Kenyans that Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, even as he goes into retirement, Musalia Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, Gideon Moi,
Where's Wetangula?
And Moses Wetangula will be in the same boat.
How about William Ruto?
He will be in the other one.
Which one?
Okay.
Heading to opposition.
So as we make progress here, correct my memory, or rather inform my memory, that the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy, I don't remember it being formally dissolved. I could be wrong on that. And then you formed the National Super Alliance. So he calls them special purpose vehicles. Is it just taking Kenyans for a ride that you bring a team together for the sake of an election, but you do not really have anything tangible that you want to offer Kenyans that can last a period of time, even to the next election?
As per the Political Parties Act, there's a provision for coalitions, and coalitions must have a time frame. For instance, the Code coalition, the time frame was 5 years. Even the one we are talking about currently, NASA, is 5 years. And all these documents must be deposited by the register of political parties as provided by
those
that.
agreements
So
that
what happened?
The next president,
So what happened? What happened in Code? Code was dissolved. It was devolved, and it gave room to NASA. That's how NASA came in. And when you look at the document of NASA at the register of political parties, the time frame is 5 years. So if we want to continue with it, we renew it, and we are likely to have other partners. In Code, remember, it was only ODM, Ford Kenya, and Wiper. ANC was not there. So when NASA came in, we were joined by ANC. So now we have 4 coalitions. Who knows tomorrow? Maybe KANU will join us, or maybe Tanga will join us, or Kieleweke.
So coalition parties in Kenya for Kenyan voters or for political vehicles for you?
No, coalitions, when you come together, you must have an objective you want to achieve.
Yes, is it for Kenyans? Is it for voters?
Of course, it's for the benefit of Kenyans. For the benefit of Kenyans. For example, right now, when we go to the floor of the House as a coalition, we might have a party stand. That this is how we're going to this is how we're going to transact business.
Okay.
So we come together and agree. When the term expires, of course we'll have other coalitions to come in, or we can renew the existing coalition with the modifications. So as we speak right now, we have partners looking at us. For Kenya, we might be in another coalition. So we might be in KANU, we might be with Wiper, we might be with whatever.
Okay. So, Senator, sitting here, looking at the Jubilee Party that nominated you to the Senate, and looking at the confusion that is happening there, people saying that you will be together in 2022, and of course the Deputy President saying that let the opposition stay aside and let the Jubilee continue their work. So for you, as a member of the Jubilee Party that has where do you see yourselves in 2022 with all this confusion?
You know, I am on record, and I will repeat it again for the 18th time. First and foremost, I'm the one who confirmed officially the existence of Tanga and Kieleweke when nobody wanted to talk about it last year, July. And I also said in January this year that Jubilee is a big tent that had got 2 sets of poles, one called Uhuru, another one called Ruto. But a camel by the name of Raila came in and tore the tent apart. That is exactly what happened. And if you want to see the confusion, you don't know which part of Jubilee you are listening to. Are you listening to Kieleweke team? Are you listening to Tanga team? Both of these 2 teams are likely to lose because they have no monopoly over ambition in politics. As Masinde Muliro said, if you have no ambition, you have no business being in politics. So when you see this, the net losers here are Mount Kenya people. Because you split the mountain for others to pass. And that's what Sifuna was saying yesterday. We are casting our net with the president so that we can get it. Because people have been saying, Raila has been winning the elections, but he doesn't have the system. Now, Tanga is saying, we have the people, but we do not have the system. So these are the politics that are being played. But me in Angalia too, I am looking at it very strategically.
So where will you sit?
The issue is, you can trust Isaac Mwaura. I am not just sitting pretty, waiting for nomination. I want to be elected next time because that is what I was looking for last time, and I was rigged out because of the politics of people who are given the rigging machinery of the Jubilee machinations, where people use photocopies. Let me tell you something. Where people use photocopies, and because of my color, people couldn't differentiate my color properly. Those are things that are minute, but they are very germane in our politics. What I'm trying to say in short is this. By the end of the day, we cannot just have a situation where we have politics without ideology. Because when you have politics without ideology, it's like somebody who
but do you think
is
that's
acting.
A reality in this country?
No, it's a reality in this sense. When you are predicating your politics around individuals, it is also about tribe.
Right.
It's never about the ideology. And that is why you find political parties do not even follow through their manifestos.
Okay.
What is the problem? Is when now you find the disaster we were just discussing about, because people have not thought through about it. And I'm sitting here as a pained Kenyan, as a leader, because for me, I know where I want to take my country. I have ideas. For example, when it comes to party primaries, we need to have a legislation. I'm working on it. And at the same time, de-risk politics, not just by increasing the 5 positions, but also what is wrong about people who have resigned from their positions, going back to work after 6 months in elections, those who are contesting. Okay. What is wrong about a member who serves only 1 term going back to their position? What is wrong about, you know, political parties having a situation where you reduce the amount of money people are using in elections? Because we cannot be having 3 out of 5 years, and then 2 out of 5 years we are using them to do politics. We must think about long-term development of our country.